Welcome, everyone. I'm Stephen Garvey, founder, leader of National Citizens Alliance, NCA. Wow, that was quite a rally on Saturday we had in Edmonton, and I'm very proud of everyone who showed up in solidarity against the UN and the global world order. We also had an event in Halifax, which was pretty interesting to say the least, with all these Antifa suppressing it, and but at least it showcased their nutcase views. And tonight we're going to dwell a bit deeper into what occurred, in particular in Edmonton. There's a lot of false narratives being spinned by the globalist mainstream media, and we're going to uncover that tonight. And it's very troubling. This one-sided false junk media that's basically indoctrinating and misinforming many Canadians across our country. It's like we're already in some kind of Marxist, socialist, communist state with the kind of media we have in this country. Not to mention Trudeau giving, I've heard now, 1.4 billion to the globalist mainstream media. That is wrong, everyone. The media has to be independent of government, not in bed with government, not string to government. The media is supposed to be a check on government, not working for government. This is all wrong, but we're going to expose it tonight. And I should add, in particular, the event in Edmonton at Sir Winston Churchill Square. And there was an earlier event at the legislature, and then it went into our event at Sir Winston Churchill Square. But mistake not, that event was all about the people there. It was all about them. They made that event. We were just facilitators. The NCA, we got the permit, we set up the event, etc. But its success was all about the people. It's all about the people. That's what it's about, and they really stepped up big time. So we recognize that. We praise them, and it's all about the people. It's all about the people. So again, I'm wearing the yellow vest. Unfortunately, this vest is getting maligned by the media, and I'll be going further into that. They're tying it to some kind of violent thuggery, um, and but I'm going to go into that later. But no one owns this movement. No one owns it. This is pure grassroots. Every Canadian, every Westerner worldwide is free to wear a vest in solidarity. It doesn't matter what organization you're in, what your political views are, what your religion is, etc., etc. But this is purely organic. The National Citizens Alliance supports it 100% because we're pro-Canadian, anti-globalist. So it's a perfect fit for us. It's something we believe, and we want revolutionary change. We feel our country is way off track, and it's been taken over literally by globalists and globalist sellouts. So we praise our French patriots for getting this movement started, and whoever came up with the idea of wearing West, well, that was one heck of an idea, and there's a lot of people in the world that are now following it. Let's hope more and more. And before I get into looking at these media stuff, and I'm going to have to adjust the audio so you can hear the video. I'm going to play quite a bit of video tonight, but I will be adjusting the audio at times so you can hear it. But as I said already, we had the permit to the Sir Winston Churchill Square. We arrived there early. We were around there at 12:30. The event was supposed to start at 2. And then there was another rally earlier, and they came in just before 1 p.m., followed by Antifa. And then Antifa set up in one corner beside us. There was some conflict. We understand that there was an Antifa guy that punched a woman in the eye, and this I wouldn't call him a gentleman. This thug was arrested by the police, and that's as far as we know. There was one arrest, and it was an Antifa thug. And we hope that lady is doing well. You know, that's wrong. That violence. That's not why we're there, to be violent. And we thank the police for what they did. We would have wanted them to remove Antifa away from us at least, but that didn't happen. So at least they created a barrier, and we were able to conduct our event. They tried to disrupt it, as you will see in the video. We assume a lot of these people were professionals. There's a lot of rumor that there were some Americans in it. There was people from Greenpeace high up involved, and we're going to show video footage. These were specialized disruptors. We understand some of them were paid by Soros to come here and disrupt us. And that's all they were trying to do, to censor us through disruption, all the sounds, clanging pots. But they did not succeed because we outlasted them. And that's what's happened. Our perseverance was stronger, so we should all feel proud of that fact. And but we don't want conflict with these people. They are obviously misguided, and looks like a lot of them are paid. I hate to use the word professional because that's kind of a compliment, but professional protesters. And it's very unfortunate, but it means we're having an impact. When they go to all that trouble to silence us, it means that we're on message, and we're having an impact. And when the globalist mainstream media, all they do is malign us and twist, and it means we're on message and they're afraid of us. I'm going to get into these videos now because we want to counter the false junk media that's coming across the board. And this first video I'm going to put up is from CTV News. And I'm just going to adjust the audio here. Just give me a second here while I adjust this audio. There it goes. You won't be able to hear me, but I'll be coming back on.
These leftist communists, please.
They call themselves Canada's Rebellion. The Yellow Jacket movement from France adopted in rallies across Canada today. This one here in Edmonton drew some counter protests, and it got a little heated. An environmentalist pulled away from this gathering of yellow vests at the Alberta legislature. And at a second protest downtown, lots of shoving over differing views. At one point, a yellow vest pushing me with my camera as tensions between the two groups flared. In Canada, the movement encompasses a number of issues, from pro-pipeline to anti-Trudeau, one of the biggest being against the UN Migration Pact, which brought out these counter-protests at Churchill Square with their pro-migrant sign.
But we're pro-immigrant, but we want people to we want integration, not immigration, which means you integrate when you come to our homeland.
The Yellow Vests have been criticized for attracting extremists. The Wolves of Odin, the replacement for Soldiers of Odin in Edmonton, out in full colors. This man admitting to being an anarchist.
I want to be peaceful, right? But you look at what's going on in France, you look at them burning cars, you look at them having a riot. If Trudeau doesn't step up, that will happen here.
But the majority of those I spoke to in Workers' Vest were fueled by Western alienation.
Justin has treated the West. He's no better than his father with the Trudeau salute. He's done all but give us that.
On putting our people, the Canadian people first, putting our country first. We reject the global world order.
The UN Migration Pact is a non-binding agreement between more than 150 nations who better handle migration flows. In Edmonton, Carly Robinson, City News.
That was one of the better presentations, but obviously there's limitations in it. There's a big emphasis on violence, extremists at the event, which they're tying the whole Yellow Vest movement into. At least they gave our side some voice in that broadcast, and it should be noted that anarchist who was interviewed by City TV and CBC and other outlets, he was actually Antifa wearing a yellow vest. So there it is. I guess they should do better reporting and find out who they're interviewing before they have them on. I'm going to shift to this this other media. This is Global News. And this is, again, it goes on into the violent narrative which the globalist mainstream media is pushing. They want to paint, that's their strategy. They want to paint the Yellow Vests as violent thugs. And you'll see it as we go through the media analysis here. And it means they're afraid. They're afraid of what this change is bringing, this true change, this national change that is coming. I'm just going to adjust the audio here for this.
Their disapproval of the United Nations and what they call global world order. Once here, they were joined by counter-protesters who are calling out what they see as racism. A group called National Citizens Alliance endorsed the Yellow Vest side of this turnout. The color of their outerwear borrowed from the Yellow Vest movement in France, which has seen protests against the high cost of living there. The main sticking point here is the UN Migration Pact, recently signed by 85% of countries at the UN, including Canada, the aiming to ensure orderly human migration. Those I talked to here say they aren't racist, but that the pact has to go.
Not a person here that's racist. Okay, so they do hate. They just hate the way the government is treating the people of Alberta and the rest of Canada.
Emotions have become heated at times, requiring police to step in. I talked with a man who came to Canada as a refugee from Uganda. He joined the counter-protest and had his pro-immigration sign ripped out of his hands and trampled on by a Yellow Vest demonstrator.
They ripped it up, and they ripped up my sign of refugees are welcome here. They tear it up. They aside. What does that mean? That's violent, and that's racism.
I talked with one woman here. She's supporting the anti-racism protesters and is with the Federation of Labor. She says there are real issues for workers here. A good job is hard to come by, but she says blaming immigrants is misplacing that fear. Police are maintaining a heavy presence, and meanwhile, passions are showing no sign of letting up. Albert Delatalo.
So you get the gist of that. This is global news. Again, they're pushing the violent narrative. They're pushing the racist narrative onto Yellow Vest. Also, the anti-immigrant. They're pushing that, and also the coverage is one-sided. They never interviewed the organizer, myself, or any one of the organizers of the public rally against the United Nations and global world order. All they interviewed was a demonstrator. Why didn't they come up and interview us? And then they had that, they called it a black man, but it was a woman. They didn't even get that right. Apparently, there's claims online that she was in Seattle protesting and down in Berkeley. She might even be an American citizen that's up here. We can't confirm that, but there's a lot of discussion online about that. Some of these people in that group. But again, you see the constant theme. They're painting us as anti-immigrant, intolerant, violent, racist, and they're favoring the so-called counter-protesters. But we're going to get further into them because, oh my God, they're anything but counter-protester. They're complete disruptors. Many of them social Marxists, communists, and a good chunk of them paid by George Soros. That's the truth. So we're going to shift to this other article. This is CTV News. I'm just going to adjust the audio here. And it gets worse in this media coverage now. I showed you the best media that we have, but then it's just going to go downhill now.
A global movement erupted in violence in our city today. More than 100 Yellow Vest protesters took to the Alberta legislature to rally against the government, the carbon tax, and for some, immigration. As Tim Brooke reports, it was when they met counter-protesters that things got out of hand.
Anger, violence, and arrests. Protests turned ugly in Alberta's capital as Edmontonians rallied against the carbon tax, the United Nations, and Canada's PM.
Tired of Trudeau basically doing what he wants with our money.
This morning, men and women descended on the legislative building, donning yellow vests similar to the ones worn by Parisians spearheading an anti-tax movement in the French capital. This protest with a uniquely Albertan point of view.
Right now, personally, I'm facing job crisis. All our oil jobs are gone. I was planning on going on pipeline till my retirement. There's no pipelines to work on anymore. All our money's going south. I've been paying taxes for 44 years, and I'm getting tired of it, man.
But a march to Churchill Square, where the anti-government calls got louder, sparked combats. The Yellow Vests were greeted by anti-protesters, many accusing those in yellow of racism, sexism, and xenophobia.
I am here to fight racism and to fight hatred that is being put up by this group.
This group saying they can't stand for anti-immigration views they believe the Yellow Vests carry.
Things can be talked through without hatred, without racism.
Arguments pushing, and then things got violent. Dozens of officers tasked with keeping the two sides apart as tensions rose. Those in yellow say they're normal citizens just fed up with the way the country is being run.
We come down here because it's people of like mind, and we're all together.
On Saturday, the group promised more protests are to come. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Edmonton.
There you have that. That was CTV and CTV Edmonton. I don't think that went national. Again, it was emphasizing violence, anger, racism. Again, they're trying to spin this into only on carbon taxation. And when the whole thing was against the United Nations, no United Nations against global world order, they don't want to say that. They're afraid to say that. And again, they interview a demonstrator, but not one of the organizers. What are they afraid of? What are they afraid of? Our point of view? They don't want it to go public. They don't mention NCA. It's not about us, but we organized the event. Why don't they mention us? Are they afraid? Are they in fear, you know? So again, this is one-sided. They give that black woman who may be an American citizen, we're not sure, they give her front and center to share her views, calling us racist, implying we're racist, implying we're intolerant, we're anti-immigrant, all this nonsense. So we're going to shift here. This is CTV, again, the same thing. It was just an article they had, and they're talking about how it's all about taxes. They don't talk about the global world order, and they talk about the different events across the country. And then we go down to Edmonton. They say anti-globalist, which is good. And then they say there were elements of racism involved. No, there was no racism involved. Yes, we are anti-globalists, and here they say we fight racism, hatred, da da da. Again, that black woman they're quoting. They're giving her quite a front and center view. They don't interview us. If we turn to the CBC, here's CBC. They emphasize violence again, punches thrown, and they call us protest groups clash. That's the big emphasis on violent. They called us anti-immigration protesters. More spin here. They don't tell you that it was an Antifa guy that was arrested. As far as we know, the only person arrested for punching a woman in the face. And then there's a video here. I'll play this video now. Again, all emphasis on violence. Those against so-called against racism, in favor of this immigration, mass immigration, etc., and the so-called racists on the other side, and the violence. That's how it's portrayed. It's unfortunate because the Yellow Vest movement and what we were doing there is a hell of a lot deeper than that, and it has nothing to do with racism or violence. So let's move on here. This is the last one I'll do. It's the Edmonton Journal. I think it's owned by the same company as the National Post. Again, it was emphasis on violence. Apparently, there was 2 people arrested. We know for sure one Antifa. And I'm just going to scroll down here. There I go. Too many ads on this page, slowing everything up. Again, there's emphasis on... Here we go. This is a pretty egregious false article here. They're saying it's all about taxes. And then they emphasize soldiers of Odin, painting them as racist, calling them white nationalists, anti-immigrant, and linking it to everyone else. And then they're trying to say here, the Yellow Vest movement is dying in France, to play it down. This was a very negative article. Very negative article. It's focused on violence, and they don't talk about the opposition to the United Nations and global world order, and the globalists in Ottawa. They don't want to mention that. They just talk about violence and, this is just about taxes. They try and just spin it off, and then they link in the soldiers of Odin. They paint them as white nationalists, anti-immigration, and they try and link that to everyone else, and then they say the movement is dying in France. So pretty biased article, but at least they're covering it. I guess that's the good thing there. So I'm going to show you some reality now. And so you saw all the media, and now I'm going to show you some independent media. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to show you one of our videos, and I'm going to show you that we were anything but anti-immigrant. Anything but.
Doesn't make sense. Come here again. This is about all Canadians. We need to make this point. We love all Canadians. That's right. I want to make that clear. Absolutely. Doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your religion, ethnicity, your color of your skin. It doesn't matter. But if you're a Canadian, you embrace being Canadian. That's what matters.
That's right.
We stand united, all Canadians today.
That's right.
We stand united. We love all Canadians.
That's right.
That's what our movement is about, everyone. We love our... Is there any First Nations here? Please come on. That's love. We have love in our hearts. We love our First Nations.
That's right.
We love our First Nations, everyone. We want the best for them. They're part of our family as Canadians. That's what our movement is about. They can promote division all they want. We're promoting love for our country, our people. This is a movement of love today. That's what we're about.
Definitely, our First Nations people are not racist. We were here from the very beginning, and I'll tell you right now, when we accepted the Europeans to come here, it was on good conscience that they were going to get a fair share of this country, and that now we are speaking to the government of Canada right now that we are not for massive migration. First Nations people are peace-loving people, and I'll tell you right now, when we stand up and get behind the First Nations people, we will have Canada back.
That's right.
We love our First Nations.
We love First Nations.
Look at them. They're incredible people.
We love First Nations.
We love them. She gets it. She gets it. She's awake. She's one of the strong, everyone. She's one of the strong. Beautiful, beautiful. She sees the mass immigration. What it's doing, it's transforming. It's replacing. And our First Nations, our Anglophones, our Francophones, our Canadians, people immigrating here from Asia, from South America, are all at risk. Are all at risk. Yeah.
Where's the racism? Where's the anti-immigrant? Where is it? You see the media lies now. You see the lies and the spins. They don't want to show the truth. That this rally, this movement is about love for all Canadians and our country. Just like it's happening anywhere else in the world, in France, in Europe, Australia. But they want to paint it as violent, want to paint us as racist. They want to paint us as anti-immigrant, and it's the opposite. What are they afraid of? Why are they pushing this fake, false, junk narrative? And I think you all know the answer. I'm going to shift to some more the reality of what happened. And this is an independent video I'm going to put up. And it's going to showcase that these so-called counter-protesters, it's going to show them for who they are. This was by MCD Music. A great video here. We put it up on our page. This is the reality, everyone. I'm going to play a clip out of this so you can get a sense and compare it to the media coverage.
not the right to come here. You don't know this. Come on. This is what we need, common sense. Common sense, everyone. Common sense. And now you have that sinister agenda. That sinister agenda. Wow. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Hey, someone, ladies. Now, come on. Let's fight, ladies. Right? Come on. Let's have some talk. Do the right thing, everyone. You know, you gotta be tough, educated, and strong, and say it as it is.
No to the UN!
These guys do. No UN, why, brother? Why get in trouble here? Lost the way, everyone. In 1949, we served the purpose.
Instead of watching on TV and not being sure what to do. We need to outnumber these people so that they go home where they belong.
This is global tyranny, everyone. Global tyranny. But the great thing is we're united. There's nations around the world. And you know, you guys are giving them hope. Everyone today, here, we're giving them hope. Canadians hope. We're in an incredible time.
There you have that. And so you see, all the media was siding with those disruptors, putting those people on a pedestal, giving them, siding with them. Unbelievable, and that's the truth there. And look at that, and they're painting us as violent, anti-immigrant. They're trying to pull out whatever negative there is. And this is the bias in this globalist paid off media. And I should add further, I don't know, apparently Rebel News was there, and the guy walked by me, he said, nice job, but where's their video? They didn't even do a video on this. What are they afraid of? Why wouldn't they do a video on this? So we got to ask questions there. What are they afraid of? I'm going to shift to this last video here. This is this one goes deeper into these Antifa that were present. It's getting a lot of views. And I'll just play a clip here so you can get a sense of it.
Antifa, communists, who knows what the hell they are. These people are just plain trying to cause trouble. They're trying to fight with us. And even the police can see that there's trouble with these people. The police have put a barricade line up here, and they're keeping the two not working for us here. It's not working at all. They're still disrupting our rally. We're just having a peaceful rally. Tell me, why can't we have a peaceful rally? Why do we need people to show up here that don't have anything to do with the rally and to try and disrupt the rally? Here we have peaceful people. Here we have disruptive people, okay? Wow. Let's do something about this, please.
That has to go! That has to go! That has to go! 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 That has to go! That has to go! Another thing, we're signed on to Agenda 2030. 2030, can you believe it? Isn't that sickening? September 2015, Harper signed us onto that globalist agenda. That has to go! 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 Billions of the U.S. and its affiliates, billions of our tax dollars go out. All the foreign aid. We know about Afghanistan. That implies immigration. But we want people to integrate into being Canadian.
Okay.
Pro-Canadian. Come here. Come
Communists go home! Communists go home! Communists go home!
That's what it's always been about, people. I've dealt with these animals.
You're not here now.
Good job.
Roger. Uncover Justin's treason. Fighting ISIS, helping ISIS, fighting ISIS in their communities. That's still good.
There you have Antifa. This is Wilson Office Army of Congress. We don't work. We've been around a long time. This is our education system producing. We've got to go. Trudeau has to go. Communism doesn't work. This is what we do.
We are stronger. Yeah.
Here, if it weren't for us, they want to ride on our backs. They wouldn't even
tell them, lady.
Riding our backs. We paid for the permit. We organized it.
What you say?
There you have it. So you got the globalist mainstream media, what they're portraying, and then we provided you with one of our clips, and there's a lot more on National Citizens Alliance on our Facebook or YouTube page, and then we provided some independent media, what they were showing, and it's quite a contrast, isn't it? And the globalist mainstream media was siding with those very confused Canadians and Americans, apparently some of them, paid some of them paid by George Soros, just here to disrupt and to make sure that our message doesn't get out, and uh, hopefully this comparison is helpful for you. Um, but it's very troubling what this globalist mainstream media is doing. They're completely misinforming, completely giving false information to the Canadian public, which is very bad. We want to inform public. We don't want one that is misinformed with incorrect information, with falsities, and pushing this junk narrative. It's all wrong, everyone. I think we can all see it. So, my message tonight is go to independent media, truly independent media, like we showcased tonight. And I'll just go back up here. I want to. So this was by Tommy Temper. I want to give him credit for his footage. Thank you, Tommy, for doing that. And this other gentleman was MCD Music. Thank you for your objective coverage. But we encourage people to look at independent media. This globalist mainstream media cannot be trusted. It's completely just propaganda. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's one-sided. It's painting a very false narrative of what occurred and who was there. And hopefully this is helpful. We are not done. We are heading into a Christmas period and New Year's, and we've just scheduled 2 big rallies coming up. And the first one is going to be on Saturday, January 5th in Edmonton again. We want hundreds and hopefully thousands of people there. And the agenda is building off what we established at this at the December 15th rally is the dichotomy between Canadian nationalism and globalism. And that's where we think things are at in Canada, even though the globalist mainstream media doesn't want you to think like that. They want you in the left-right continuum where you're controlled. But we believe the true conflict, the most important division is between Canadian nationalism and globalism. And that's the focus of the rally on January 5th in Edmonton, a public rally on Canadian nationalism versus globalism. And this will be in spirit and solidarity with Yellow Vests across Canada and the world. We will be holding the same event on January 6th in Calgary, and it'll be the same theme. We got to build off that narrative, and because this is all against the United Nations, the global world order, the 1%, the top-down governance in Canada over the Canadian people. This junk, false, globalist mainstream media that is basically lying to Canadians every day and giving them false information. This is all wrong. What is our country evolving into? What is it evolving into with these twisted, sick, false reporting? It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable, and we're paying for it with our tax dollars. So please share these events. They're now up on our Facebook page at National Citizens Alliance. We will do some videos on them, and we will get them up. They'll be going up on the YouTube page as well. But please share those events. Get them out. You know, we are organizing it, but it's about all Canadian patriots. It's about all Canadian nationalists, people, anyone who's concerned about their country and where it's going, and also in solidarity with yellow vests across the country. So come out, wear your vests, bring your signs. It is all about you. Like our last event and the one before that, the mic is the people's mic, and it will be open to the public to speak. We want to hear from you. We just ask you to keep your comments concise and stay on topic. And we encourage people, the National Citizens Alliance is 100% against the globalist agenda. That's why we have no problem getting behind the yellow vest. We are anti-globalist, pro-Canadian. So we encourage people to go to our website. We are on the verge of official registration. We will be running in 2019 to drain any and all globalists out of Ottawa. They need to be drained. They need to be replaced. There's no place for globalists in our country. This should be about Canadian people, our country we love, Canadian nationalism. Those should be the people serving us. So we believe they need to be drained out. And it doesn't matter what their color is or what side of the aisle they're on. They need to be drained out and replaced so we can get our country back on track. So we encourage people to become a member, run in 2019, donate, and so we can grow and spread our message, get more support, and begin the necessary political change in our country, which has to take place. You know, this globalist mainstream media, which I showcased tonight, is symbolic of everything else that is going on. And, I feel bad for a lot of Canadians, the extreme taxation. There's so many Canadians that are struggling to make ends meet. Our country is literally being transformed before our eyes through this mass immigration agenda, which is basically rapid, radical, planned, organized replacement of traditional Canadian people. So please share this message, and let's have some giant rallies in 2019. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And wow, it's going to be exciting 2019. And thank you for joining me tonight.